defendant knew that Ashley was dead when he came back to Grand Rapids on the 2nd. He acknowledged that he knew she had been cut up. He knew that there was evidentiary value in the things that they took out of Jared's home and that they put back into Jared's home. Why a cop of 24 years doesn't look into boxes after he knows that this lady is dead and cut up. Well, I find that hard to believe, but that's his claim. He knew that there was evidentiary value in those items because he was frightful of it. Nobody called in a silent observer tip. You don't want to call, you don't want to turn your son in person, okay, I can buy that. But you can at least call silent observer and let the police know. But that doesn't happen. By putting Jared and that evidence back at Franklin and then leaving, wiping his hands clean, oh, it's not my job. He gave Jared the perfect opportunity to continue dismembering Ashley and getting rid of the evidence. The only reason that we're here today is because Mario Nelson calls 911. Mario Nelson doesn't call 911. What the defendant did allows his son to continue the crime of mutilation. And he knew that she was dead, he knew that she was mutilated, he did nothing about it, and he did an act to allow his son to continue that horrific act.
What did Mr. Chance do that shows that he helped his son avoid discovery, arrest, trial, or punishment? He brought his son to the police department. He walked him into the Grand Rapids Police Department. Now, maybe that interaction, although we heard no testimony about what happened, maybe that interaction didn't go the way the police wished it had, looking back. But how, doesn't that negate any intent of avoidance of punishment? I'm going to walk my son, who I believe has committed something, some crime, I'm going to walk him into the police department and ask the police to take care of it? How is that indicative of a person who's trying to help somebody avoid arrest, trial, punishment? It's not. Those are not the actions of somebody who's trying to help their son avoid anything. And quite frankly, I'm disturbed by the salacious suggestions that the prosecution made about what could have happened in that Costco. He has no evidence to support that at all. There is no indication that anything like that happened. There was no indication that Barbara Chance had a human foot in her purse. And yet he had the audacity to stand up here and argue that today with no corroborating evidence against him. I find that hugely problematic. And again, there is nothing that indicates that Mr. Chance was trying to help his son avoid anything. Even the testimony of Sergeant Curley. Yeah, he was worried about his son. Yeah, I want to make sure my son gets a fair shake. I want to make sure he has a lawyer. I want to make sure he gets a fair trial. That's what he was worried about. He didn't tell Sergeant Curley, well, actually, I wanted him to avoid the whole thing to get all together and help him escape to Costa Rica. Because that's not what he does. He's a really terrible accessory after the fact, if what he does is bring the person he's supposed to be helping avoid arrest back to the scene of the crime, where everybody knows he lives, Jared that is, and puts the evidence back there. What is that? That's accessory after the fact? That's helping him avoid arrest? That's helping him avoid punishment? That's helping him avoid trial, discovery? No.
What I do know the court heard is that he was in GRPD for less than 2 minutes and that he wasn't going to let his son talk without an attorney. And guess what? The cop of 24 years, that's his absolute calculated effort by him. I'm going to bring him in. I know cops can't talk to you once you lawyer up, but I can say, oh yeah, no, I brought him in. And when it doesn't go his way, he's out of there in less than 2 minutes. And what does he do? He helps his son by returning Ashley Young's body parts, returning Jared to his crime, Go ahead. I'm going to wipe my hands clean of you now, but I have assisted you. I have put you back to where all the body parts have been chopped up. You can go back to work. I'm not going to turn you in, even though I know she's dead and I know she's dismembered. That is an act to help Jared. Give Jared all the time in the world to continue chopping her up and disposing of her, so we can't find the rest of her legs. Like we can't find her head, her hands, or her feet, or her neck. You can see the photo, Judge. He wasn't done. The rest of the legs were going. And it's only because of Mario getting there that we have that much of her.